Good news. You want to play better golf? You haven't got to change your golf swing. A big misconception amongst golfers that to play better golf, you've got to improve your swing. It's not the case. In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 really simple on-course tips that you can do the very next time you play to guarantee lower scores. Let's get started. Let's start off with a really simple tip to help you with the driver, hitting more fairways and more distance. Lots of golfers stand over the ball and get very nervous, get very tense. That tension can really affect how you set up to the golf ball, can really affect how you take the club away. Sometimes we get really snatchy. And if you get really snatchy, your rhythm is never going to be that good. So this tip, I love this, can do it straight away on the golf course, very simply to hover the golf club. So you're going to go through your kind of normal routine, what you would do, you'd pick your target, step in, but then the only difference is, before you hit the ball, you're just going to raise the club off the ground, hover it and start your golf swing. What you'll feel instantly is how much more relaxed you feel over the golf ball, and that's so important. Well, so important for every club, but especially the driver when we know there's so much at stake. Let's talk about bunker play. Here's a really simple tip, and this tip, I've used this so many times on the golf course and it always just gives great results almost instantly. So sometimes golfers take a setup, they're aware that the golf club should enter the sand, maybe some 1 to 2 inches behind the ball. They focus on that and they know they've got to hit the sand. And that can lead to shots like this. Club hit the sand, that was correct, but ball didn't get out. And I'm faced with the same shot again. So why did that not work and what can you do? Well, let's get another ball. And I want you to change how you're seeing a bunker shot. The reason that ball didn't come out is because my club was going too aggressively downwards into the sand. That's not actually what we're trying to do in a bunker. We want the golf club to skip through the sand. And we want your attention, your focus to be more out towards the flag. So what I'd love you to think about when you're in the bunkers is taking a setup and actually taking the sand that's around the ball and putting that sand on the green. So we're not sending the club so much down, but we're actually swinging the club more towards the target, and you're going to be moving your energy out towards the flag. It's also great for giving you a really good idea of how much speed you need. If I don't use enough speed, obviously the sand's not going to come out. So it gives me an idea of how much speed I need to get the ball out. Get yourself set up, set your feet in, open the face and take the sand that's around the ball and simply splash it on the green. And even that one is a little bit short, but the sand went on the green and at least I'm putting. From this situation, I'm just off the green. The fringe grass is pretty good here at the Friars of Arden. So in almost all situations, putter is going to be the safest option and allow you to get the ball the closest. But what about when the situation's slightly different and you can't get putter on it? I'm basically now in the same situation as I was a moment ago. I've literally just moved some 15 feet, but the grass is different. So you can see that I've got this sort of longer grass. So I'd love to putt it, but I can't really predict as well how the ball's going to roll. So when you find yourself in this situation and you really want to putt it, but you don't think you can, why not hit a putt, but using some loft? So I've got myself a 7-iron here, and I'm going to basically hit this exactly as I would with my putter. So I'm going to take my putting grip. I'm even going to go down the grip to try and make this club the same length as my putter would be. I'm going to take my exact putting setup. So I'm trying to basically do everything that I would if I had my putter in my hand. The only difference I'm going to make here is I'm going to shift a little bit more weight into that lead side because I want a slightly descending blow to make sure I guarantee the strike. But after that, to me, it just feels like I'm hitting a putt with my 7-iron. And what we should get is the ball just popping over this grass and hopefully rolling out relatively close to that hole. I actually don't even know where that ball's gone. Clattered into the tree, don't know where it's gone. Let's not turn your potential bogeys into doubles and triples. I see this all the time. This wasn't a great tee shot. I've put myself behind this big tree. So therefore, I've brought in the chance of a 5. So what I really should be doing is pitching this ball out into the fairway, trying to get it on the green, giving myself a putt for a par. And if I don't make it, I've made a bogey. And the reason I made a bogey is because my tee shot ended up here. What we don't want to do on the golf course, and I see this all too often, is when we hit a poor shot, is we try and make up for it by being super aggressive with the next one, trying to hit a career shot. For me to get that ball around that tree with this club, yeah, you put me here, 30 or 40 times and one of them might come off, but most of the time it's going to be a result which is unpredictable like that one. I don't know where that ball went, so if that's me on the golf course, I've got a drop, it's cost me 2 shots, I'm now looking at triple, even quad. So give yourself a chance at a par, but accept that a bogey is actually okay. That's why you've got a handicap. So from this situation, this is a par 4, I'm here for 1. I'm going to pitch out into the fairway, which is a much safer shot, which would be 2. Now I can go onto the green in 3. I've got a putt for a 4. At worst, it's going to be a bogey. So take your medicine, accept that bogey's okay. Don't turn them into doubles, triples, or even be a card wrecker like a 7 or an 8. Another driver tip. This one, I love this. This is probably, if I had to pick out one driver tip that I've had more success with than any other on the golf course, it's this one. It can help you hit the ball higher, further, and more right to left with the driver. And don't take my word for it. Jon Rahm does this exact same thing, and he's even said this in interviews. It's what he does to hit high draws. He used this at Augusta. So what is that tip? Well, very simply, when you set up with the driver, if you need a little bit of that high draw, don't set the club right in behind the golf ball. When we set the club in behind the golf ball, it's really easy to get the shoulders open. It's really easy to get the upper body a little bit too far forward, and those sort of setup traits actually promote a down and left hit. That's going to give you spinny, fadey slides to drivers. What Jon Rahm does when he wants to hit a draw is he starts with the club a fair distance back behind the ball, maybe some 6 to 8 inches, you can see that there. What it does is it squares the shoulders off, it actually gets the upper body to sit a little bit better relative to the lower body, and it actually sets your swing more out to the right. Therefore, you've got a greater chance of hitting up on the ball, really good for driver, and you've got more chance of hitting out to the right, and that's a great recipe for high draws. So, do what Jon Rahm does. When you need a high draw, set the club back from the ball by about 6-8 inches and go ahead from there. So that flag is 106 yards exactly. So for me, that's just a 56 degree wedge. And it's actually a perfect 56 degree wedge. 105, 106, that wedge, right at it, take dead aim. Let's see if we can get it really nice and close in there. No, definitely not. It doesn't matter how good you are, you shouldn't be going right at flags when they're tucked on the side of the greens like this one is. Yes, it's on the green, but it's on the right-hand side of the green. It's not cut that far over the water. That's a tricky flag. Think about a group of shots you would hit, not the perfect shot. So if I took my 56 degree wedge and I hit 50 shots on a range, there would be a grouping. Okay, that grouping is what I have to plan for when I'm hitting this shot. So my grouping would be short of the flag, right of the flag, long of the flag, left of the flag. Therefore, some of the shots that I hit might end up in the water, some of them might miss the green on the right. I have to be smart. So even though I've got a wedge in my hand, my target here is left of the flag and probably a little bit longer the flag. So I don't want to be thinking of that 106 yardage. I want to be thinking of something more like 110. I know I've got 124 to the back edge of the green. 110 is absolutely fine for me. So be smart with your targets. Don't go flag hunting, even when you've got short clubs. It's a great way to hit okay shots and get punished. If you mark your ball and then start reading the break on that putt, it's too late. That whole process needs to start way earlier, and that's what the best players in the world do. So I'm just playing again this 15th hole par 3. I've hit a shot, not bad, I've gone a little bit long left, but I need to start reading the green right away, right from the tee. Now, on the W12 watch that I use in golf, but there's actually a feature, green undulation. So as I swipe to that, I can see this heat map of the green. So I can already tell, because I'm long left, that I'm going to have a putt which is a little bit downhill and probably left to right. But when I get on the green, there's even more that I can do before I even look at the putt that I'm hitting. This is where my tee shot ended up, and as I established from the tee, it is downhill and it is going to be coming a little bit from the left. But before I even look at my putt, I can use my playing partners to help me. So on this particular putt, my playing partner here, not exactly on the same line as me, but not far off, and I can use their putt to help me gauge a little bit of the break, but also how fast this putt is down the hill. So watching their putts closely before I even look at mine can be really helpful. I've now gathered as much information as I can about this green. I read it from the tee, I watched my playing partners, that wasn't me by the way, that person over there, he underread it, broke more than he thought. So I know that this one round the hole might have a little bit more swing than it appears, but I can then use all that information and apply it to this particular putt. And it does look off the left at the end. It actually looks pretty straight early on, but using all of that information is going to help me, and it will help you pick the line a lot more accurately. I think this one is pretty straight and then just dropping to the right at the very last minute. I think I've underhit that. That was turning in. It helped me read the green. It didn't help me get the pace right. Read was good, pace not so much. This is the 15th par 3. I love this hole. This is one of my favourite on the golf course. It's 197 yards to the middle of the green. So strike, super important. I'm not going to get anywhere near that green if I can't strike the ball well. And we know that perfect strikes come when the club hits the ball and then hits the ground. It's ball turf contact that has to happen. So the simple tip that you can do on the course is change your focus. Think about an area in front of the golf ball, maybe the width of your club head in front of the golf ball, and imagine a point maybe an inch underground and try and swing to that. What we do not want to do, as I say, is have the focus behind the ball. So we're going to be taking a setup and you're going to be thinking about a spot in front of the ball underground and trying to swing to that. It's going to help you get your weight forward. It's going to help you get your hands forward. It's going to help you get that ball turf contact. And from here, on this hole, strike is absolutely everything. This next tip is going to help you with your performance out on the golf course. And I love this. It's something I encourage all the golfers that I work with and help to do. And it's to do with your glove. You know, most of you will wear a glove, if I can get it out of my pocket, and you can turn your glove into something that can help you on the golf course. Now this will depend a little bit on what you're actually working on in your golf swing or what your trends and traits are on the course. So let's say you get a little bit quick on the golf course. You tend to transition from backswing to downswing a little bit too fast. And you want to remind yourself to have a smoother transition. Well, take a Sharpie and just put a little cue on your glove. So for example, if it was tempo or transition, you might put a T on your glove. And what that's going to mean is that when you step onto the tee box, as I've just done, and you put your glove on, I get that little T and it gives that little trigger, that reminder that, okay, I've got to remember my tempo. And then I might even want to have my practice swings thinking of tempo. And when I go ahead and hit this shot, I've got a much better chance of making the golf swing that I want. Oh, that is perfect. So that flag's at 177, which is why I've grabbed a 7-iron. It's really going to be hard for me to hit this ball and be using a putter on my next shot if my alignment is absolutely terrible. Well, there's one little trick that I'd love you to do on the golf course which can really help you with your alignment. It's all to do with your eyes. And when we're talking of alignment, we think of our ball to target line, and then we think of our body being parallel to that. So that's toes, knees, hips, shoulders. But your eyes are also parallel to your body. So if I raise my head up and I rotate my head this way, my eyes are now pretty much horizontal. I see everything out there. I see flag, bunker, bunker green. That doesn't give me any perspective as to where I was aligned. If you do this, it will. So I'm going to get myself set up, and I'm actually going to aim myself slightly out to the right here, build my stance. But if one of the looks is a swivel of the head, my eyes will go up my body line. And as I do that, the first thing I see is greenside bunker on the right. So by swiveling my head, I get a much better perspective of where I'm aligned. And I've even hit a good shot as well. And if you enjoyed this video, then why not check out this one as well, 20 on-course tips to help you shoot lower scores.